In the 2005 Access Hollywood tape, Donald Trump bragged to Billy Bush about grabbing women on their private parts without consent. Trump said, "I don't even wait, and when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything. Grab them by the pussy." When confronted with the video clip during an interview, Trump said his statements were locker room banter and apologized if anyone was offended. Trump's words and the defensiveness of his actions were the fuel that began to spark anger amongst protesters of the first Women's March on Washington. The day following swearing in of President Donald Trump, January 21, 2017, the first Women's March on Washington took place. The protest was a response to the racist and discriminatory remarks made by President Donald Trump during his campaign, and as a direct response to his election over Democratic candidate Hillary Clinton. Initiated by co-founder Bob Bland on Facebook, the March on Washington was the largest single-day protest in U.S. history. Participants assembled in record-breaking numbers, a range of 3,267,134 to 5,246,670 in the U.S. alone. Worldwide, there were more than 7 million participants. Symbolic pink pussy hats were worn, many in retaliation for misogynistic views that surfaced during the election through comments about Megyn Kelly, Carly Fiorina, and opponent Hillary Clinton. Pink hats were a show of unity that swept through every protest, demonstrating strength and unity instead of the negative portrayal of pussy by Trump. The first March on Washington sparked continued activism with the 10 Actions for the 100 Days campaign. Organizers did not want to lose momentum and thought this was the best method to keep demands in the forefront of the minds of activists. The March on Washington was a nonviolent protest of the election, but the people who attended had different reasons for being there and different hopes for the outcome. This presentation will explain reasons for the march from different perspectives and outcomes for protesters who saw the opportunity to spark change within communities all over the world. What is at stake? Human rights, gender equality, immigration reform, healthcare reform, reproductive rights, the environment, LGBTQ rights, racial equality, freedom of religion, workers' rights, and tolerance were the main issues the Women's March on Washington advocated for during the peaceful protests that included generations and diverse backgrounds of women and men of all ages. The goal was to advocate legislation and policies for these issues and to continue to work toward dismantling the oppressive system that still governs the United States today by using nonviolent resistance. The march was a forum used to declare dismay with the current president-elect and as a way to encourage support and activism worldwide. Who were the speakers and what was their message? During the march, speakers with great political and social status spoke to ignite the crowds. Feminist activist Gloria Steinem, civil rights activist Angela Davis, and Planned Parenthood Federation of America's president Cecile Richards brought messages of encouragement and a call for actions to protesters to rally around. Singers such as feminists Alicia Keys and Janelle Monáe ignited the crowd with songs like "This Girl Is on Fire," reciting famous poetry, "Still I Rise" by Maya Angelou, and paying homage to all the women that are mothers, caregivers, activists, entrepreneurs, workers, and leaders, and encouraged us to make more attempts to reach our full potential by continuing to work. Monáe chanted with the crowd Sandra Bland in memory of high-profile case of an African-American woman who died during police custody following her arrest. The issues that were highlighted were not only about women, but supported the goals of other communities and whose rights have been violated. Effects of the march. Though the object of the march was to express the dissatisfaction of the election of Trump and unite women all over the world, some African American women felt their goals did not align with imperial feminism. 20 African American women were interviewed following the march, and they felt the issues of traditionally marginalized communities were not appropriately addressed and that the march did not enhance efforts to become more inclusive in the feminist movement. Tamika Mallory, one of the lead organizers behind the Women's March, wanted to continue activism efforts by celebrating International Women's Day by means of showing the experience of a day without women, where women would not shop, work, and wear red to show solidarity of the strike. The sentiment following the march was that though a diverse group of people assembled, the reasons for them being there were all different. Many came solely to respond to the election, and others to continue to work and gain new supporters for issues they were dealing with as minorities. The result was not only conversation following the march, but additional marches with social issues as highlights. The march encouraged and set in motion activism to people who had never taken part in political issues that faced the country and added numbers to organizations formed long ago to fight for civil rights of every person.